Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings, family. All praise be to the Most High. It's your brother Don Malachi, Israel, reporting to you live from the land of Israel in the wilderness of Israel. And we're about to bring to you, a real divine Hebrew perspective. This is me and my brother, Moray. I'm gonna let him be able to introduce himself. You understand, and where it's coming from is you got a brother from Israel, you awakened to the truth and being an Israelite and knowing who we are. And you have one of our good brothers that's been born and raised here in the land of Israel as an Israelite. You understand? And so we're going to share those different walks of life and everything like that. And you get the chance to know him, you get the chance to know me. And we're going to break bread, and we're also going to bring to you some wonderful information on the platform as well. And this time and in the future of things concerning, he's a master at dealing with the Hebrew and breaking that down. And we're going to get into the bottom of that, especially number one, dealing with the Most High's calendar. And we're going to get into some things. So with that being said, Moray, go ahead and introduce yourself to the world. How you feeling, my brother?
Hey, elated, Eli, like we say in Hebrew. First of all, giving all honor and praise to the Creator, Yahuwah, who created all things for His honor, for His will, and for His glory. My name is Yativia Ben Sar Eliakim. I am 45 years old. I was born February 7th, 1977. I was born to the Edenic Hebrew Judean Israelites out of northeastern Eden in Dimona, Israel. I was raised in the city of Mitzkaramon, which is the mountaintop, what we call it, 980 degrees above sea level. So here we have the closest view to the heavens and to the stars. And of course, Adam will be able to testify to that. And at some point, we will be able to actually show you this special footage. I am a son who was raised in the community, who at the age of 18, I decided to step out and go on my own journey and make decisions.
When you say the community, what you mean by the community?
I'm talking about the African Hebrew Israelites, the Edenic Judean Hebrew, Israelites in Dimona.
Okay.
As the community, when we depart, it's actually when you decide to begin to self-search. Me, as one who was born into truth, who was never actually affected by any type of religion or anything, it still looked as if it was small, and I still need to figure out myself in order to make my choices in my life. Not just because I was born as a Hebrew, but to really figure out what the world and then make a choice so that I can earn the right to be a Hebrew.
Okay, so help me understand what that means for you. You was born an Israelite in the land of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And being born in Israel, in the land of Israel, how did that start? You know what I'm saying? And what's that upbringing of you? What's the history behind you being born in Israel and knowing you an Israelite? Because there's an awakening in America, with the Israelites, you know what I'm saying, by way of social media and all these type of different avenues that over time it really became a boom with it. But you was born knowing this and you was born in the land of Israel. So like what's the history of you understanding and what's your understanding on being an Israelite?
Well, as a child born here, and I would say as a part of a historical journey of a people who was transforming their image from being Christians to being Hebrew. So for me, it was seeing people make a choice, seeing people actually see their lives and be given an awakening by a vision of a person, but simply to be awakened and to make a choice to say, hey, this is not of the likeness of the Father that we believe in, of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Yaakov. And when we talk about Abraham as being the first Hebrew, remember it was all about him making a choice on deciding to be that righteous seed and that one who would serve Yah with all his heart, soul, and might. So seeing people literally fight, seeing our parents fight, transforming an image It's not all perfect, it's not all beautiful, but at the same time, they allowed me and gave me an opportunity to be born free. And as a child born free, I learned not to put judgment on anything, not to try to framework anything. If we always talk about Yah as a living energy or living spirit, I always say if we limit ourselves too much within this experience in life, we actually may miss out on the experience in life. So experiencing this as a Hebrew has caused me to once again, as a child, you don't value who you are, and this is why I made a choice to leave and make my decision. But as one of the great princes of the kingdom always spoke, Prince Asiel, and he said once, he said, when you're standing up on a high building, a tall building, when you're standing real close up on it, you can't really see how tall it is. But he said sometimes it's needed to walk away from it. He said just make sure that when you walk away, make sure you keep your focus there so that you can see actually how tall it is. So even when you leave or may have to depart for self confirmation, for going into self to figure out, okay, I'm actually, is this really right? But you must choose at the end of the day. So the Prince Isaiah said, if you move back and you see, but you'll still see, then you'll say, wow, I didn't know it was that tall. Then you begin to value what you had on a whole nother level. And you begin to say, like I always used to say, like I always said about my experience, my parents, I left out of heaven just to figure out 8 years, man, what it was like to live in hell and to go back to heaven. And once again, heaven being a concept and a mindset of how we live and a way to live. So it's been a great experience. I can say also like my parents. And like I said, just because we're born Hebrews, we're born with the potential to get the right or to become a Hebrew making a choice, just like our forefather. My parents made a choice. I made a choice to leave, but I made a choice to come back. Now I have earned the right to become a Hebrew. You made a choice, to cross over borders. You now have earned the right to be an Israelite and be a part of one who actually is a part of this land and who own this land now, being reconnected with the roots of our forefathers. So it's been a great experience being enlightened and knowing who you are all the time. I think knowing who you are is actually more dangerous than not knowing because you can actually sometimes you can misvalue it. You can not understand the greater value it really is until you get older and experience. So our job is to do once we experience, like always, we only are to come back and to try our best to share our experience with those that's coming behind us so that they don't have to make the same mistake and they can be better than we were.
Right.
So,
So let me tell you how what being an Israelite mean for me and how it
mm,
started with me. Being born from Chicago, we come from and raised around Christians and having that type of background and what's going on with that. But for me, I always knew specifically that I was just more connected with the scriptures. And so the Father carried me and had me with an interest into life itself and what was all about as far as my existence, starting from the age of 6 years old. And that allowed me to be able to open up the book. And from opening up the book, and at that time when we was calling him Jesus, you understand, and the Christians say the things, the scriptures, identified him as being black. So for me, I'm like, at that time, all black people are my cousins or my
mm,
relatives. So as a child, I said, if he's black according to the definition and description, then he's my family. And if he's my family, that means that I'm an Israelite and I'm going to be I automatically self-proclaim myself from the tribe of Judah, with King David being my grandfather. So that was a spiritual divine confirmation of a connection that started, that was birthed as a child. I didn't know what I was. I was just, with zeal, like, oh, that's that. And at that
mm,
time, my name even being Rodney Davis, you know what I'm saying? Davis means son of David. So when I was
mm,
walking around as a child proclaiming that King David was my grandfather, I had no idea that the Father really put that a part of my destiny, and that I would be growing up and really diving into the scriptures and finding out my true identity by divine bloodline heritage was I'm an Israelite, and from the tribe of Judah. And King David is my actual bloodline grandfather. You understand? And so it became like an opening mystery that the Most High, the creator of all things, this is how he does with the children of Israel. He'll take you through reality where you wake up in the morning every day, you brush your teeth, wash your face, and all that, and you smell the fresh air. But he's operating in your life, and he give you signs and symbols, and he does mysterious things in mysterious ways to continue on that path of searching for him. But he makes it exciting with these type of jewels that he dropped. When you can look back on it and be like, man, I'm a child of Judah. I was saying this, and my name was, Davis all this time, meaning son of David. Like you funny, Abba. You know what I'm saying? You was lining it up. You know what I'm saying? And you just go put the pieces of the puzzle for me to go search it out, so I can smile and give you the glory. And so when you learn, what I'm saying, that you're an Israelite, it becomes even more deeper with you in America because we come from being in slavery, we come from fighting each other and not knowing what's going on. So when that awakening happened, and it's like you get your identity back. Now when you read the Bible, you connecting with it from a family standpoint. You're not connected from it, what I'm saying, with a religious standpoint, from any other standpoint. Now you automatically open the book and think about your auntie, your uncle, your grandfather, and that automatically reenacts the spirit of you reading the book in a whole different format. As soon as this is my family. This is really my family. We was lost. We was in slavery. They beat our history out of us, and the whole world made religions of our history, of our story.
I think one of the greatest things, one of the most important things you just said, that has a lot to do with when the awakening comes. Remember, we all are prophetic beings, or we live in a prophetic. And you said the age of six. The age of six. The age of six, as you know, it relates when we go back to, because we're going to relate everything we talked about, and we're going to talk about this number six. This is very important about this number six and how it represents our connection and our unity. This is when, at that age, the Father decided to shine His light and move His Spirit upon you, because when we're chosen, remember, when you're chosen, you don't have a choice, really. When you're chosen, I always say the only choice we have is to either live this life in a tractor or in a limousine based on your level of awareness or consciousness. But the level of six, the number six, is like man came down. Man was connected and unified with the earth on the sixth day. So just like the Spirit came to you at 6 years old, you know, even we're going to talk about a little later in this video why six, once again, is so important, because we're not talking about 2022. We're talking about 222. We're talking about the six. And what we're really dealing with right now is the grand awakening, called the grand awakening, where prophetically so, because of our forefathers and because of the promise to our forefathers, it is deemed that it is time that our Father will bring us back, like He said, from the tail to becoming the head. And because we are ready now, and it's not really so much that we are ready, it's the world has proven themselves to not be who they are for us. So prophetically, so I mean, they've proven that they only master in destroying themselves, and constantly over and over again. So when we're talking about the grand awakening, remember the crossover begins first in the mind. Everything is spiritual and physical. The choice is first made in the mind. This is the first. So this is when we cross over, like we're doing now. We're crossing over. First, this grand awakening is causing us to cross over because we've seen so much injustice in the world, and we find out at the end of the day, it's like we know in the beginning, how can the same man who robbed and enslaved me be the one who reached out and saved me? It's really, nothing is really new. It's really just, we just refuse to remember the foundation and the principal matter of society and what's going on today. So I said this is a great time for us and our people. Once again, talking about the unification and the unity, and all comes with understanding. And one of the greater things I was blessed with as a child was a great understanding of the Hebrew language. Remember, as Hebrews, we must it includes a land, language, and a culture. We're in our land. We've defined our culture, and what we're missing is the essence of our language, and somebody else has been holding secrets from us, but because we know Yah, the Most High, has the greater plan, He caused us to be born here so that our minds can be born in this same Midbar, in the same wilderness where our ancient forefathers was, which means they spirits were now, once we were prepared in our heart, they spirits, we were ready now for these secrets to be revealed unto us, so that for this point of time, we can now share with our people, and we can stop misunderstanding people, but now understand us as a whole. We're one whole, walking different paths of life, and we could call ourselves the United Front for Yah, because wherever we may be on the face of the planet, we are all awakening and we are crossing over. And we have to, the Hebrew is very important, because when you say crossover, I mean, does it mean just walk over something? What does it really mean to cross over? And I think this is one of the greater things in Hebrew. We could start with this. The ayin and the beit and the resh. The ayin simply means the mindset of the word. Simply means to cross over, we must first be able to see something that is wrong. In order to make a choice, you make to see something. I need to go this way or that way. So first is giving you power of sight. Once you are given power of sight in the letter ayin, then you get to the letter bet, which is represent your heart, which means now the way you feel or your emotions. Now you crossing over because you want to feel safe in the bet, in the heart, in the home of your father. You want to feel safe. Your emotions want to feel balanced and safe. You don't want to be going outside, scared to go outside. So this is going to happen. That's going to happen. There's a reason I need to get out of here, because my emotions do not feel at home. So now I have a need to cross over. And then why do I have a need to cross over? Because I need to be able to express myself as the letter Rish, as the head, like the Rosh. Because right here, I'm the tail. Like I'm in slavery here. I'm the tail. So in order for me to cross over, I must first understand and see there's something truly wrong here. Once I see, I must gain the courage to be able to cross over and say, hey man, this is what our parents did. This is what I did when I left. This is what our forefather did when he left. This is what everybody must do eventually. We must see the grand awakening. We must be given a new way of looking at things. So once again, to become a Hebrew, we must be given a new sight, see things in a different way, to make sure we want to feel secure in our heart, go somewhere we feel safe for us, not only us, but our children and our generations, a place where we can actually lead and govern a world, men governed by the laws of the Creator, Yah Yahuwah.
All right, most definitely, most definitely.
Absolutely.
And so, how you translate that, what I'm saying? How you translate that into, to what's going on today with our people and what they're facing in the world today, you know what I'm saying? We got the corona and all of that. We have division amongst the Israel, the Hebrews were waking up. We have different camps and everything like that concerning every part of different ideologies on how they look at being an Israelite. Me, myself, personally, I've never been involved with any camp. I never had any group. I don't have any elders that I've ever learned up under or anything like that. The Father took me on an individual journey on my own, particularly to wake me up to who I am. But there's a problem in the world that, united we stand and divided we fall. And so since the Father has taken the liberty on waking us up as the children of Israel and his diverse way of doing that, what would you say would be a solution to the problem of us waking up today and figuring out, with all our different variations of ideologies on how we see ourselves as Israelites, and we coming together with that, and the world, and who is the enemy that's against us right now? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna say, the enemy is the powers that be over this whole earth. I'm gonna say that the weapons of warfare is those who say they are Jews and are not, like the scriptures would say. You understand? And the powers that be in all of the nations that came to be able to distort our historical information, and even to that day, because that plagues us on not knowing who we are, we still go against each other. The brothers in the streets, they still only think about shooting each other when they making these songs and doing videos and things like that. You got these camps that know that they're Israelites, but they still banging on each other. If you not a part of this group, then you ain't in the truth, and all of this type of stuff going on. So as an Israelite today, that's why we sitting here right now breaking bread. You know what I'm saying? You a Israelite brother, you know what I'm saying? My brother who born and raised here, you come from Demona. I come from America with no attachment to any other groups, but I don't see the Most High carry me according to my spiritual journey one way. So, what I'm saying? What you think about, all of that in perspective, what I'm saying? And what it means for you, what I'm saying? Because I want to go into, of course, what's important, and that's the Shabbat. Today we on the Shabbat right now. It's a Shabbat, and
The 6th day, coming into the Shabbat. Once again, that six, that connection. We're doing this on the 6th day. The Shabbat will be tomorrow, right?
where we breaking it in now, so it's just like a shishi night.
Right. So,
And the official day is, Saturday, like the Shabbat, So officially Revi'i is the official day, but just like a night coming in, We bring it in from the sixth to the seventh, which is 6 and 7 is 4. That's by divine purpose, that equals 13. So that's a whole other mathematical perspective as well, to be able to understand how things go. But according to divine time, you understand, beforehand, being in the land of Israel, what time did you understand it to be? You understand, and then what was the calendar structure for you?
well, like I said before, we're now in the grand awakening.
But hold on, before you get to that, I had said a whole lot before that.
And I'm gonna capture that, all of that. All that comes in. I heard you. I hear very well.
All right, all right.
All right. Now, could you ask me basically what I feel about everything that's going on? What would I say to the people? What is needed actually for the people now? And I'll go back to the beginning. 2022, 2226, connection, unification, union, oneness, connection. How do we connect? What is our source of life? We must understand once again. What is our greatest connection? Because do we connect on personality? Do we connect on intellectuality? Do we connect on sociality? Do we connect on finance? What do we connect on? What makes us one is the source of our power. Yah Yahuwah, the energetic source. And I think this is one of
But
the.
a lot of the Hebrews got different names for the name of the Most High too.
We're going to get to that.
You to
Let me
clear that
finish.
up for
We're
them
going
as
to clear
well.
that. I'm going to hold that point because we got to get to that. That is a must. One was the point. But when we're looking at the source, and like I said, Yah Yahuwah, I think the greatest thing is our understanding of what is Yah Yahuwah. Like you said, is given so many different names, and I'm gonna share with you my what I have to share. Like we all was given a gift, like you were given a gift, a mathematical gift, to bring a light into the world today, to bring an awareness to the Hebrews today. My gift is the gift of the language, to come and show what I call a closer look at the same thing we've been looking at for all these years. You're not looking at nothing different. We're not going to make up anything different. We're going to take a closer look at what we already have, so that maybe we can get a unified understanding of the same energetic sound vibration we're trying to receive or to inherit. So I'll go back to where you start, because one of the great things, it starts with you. The greatest thing you brought to us is this mathematical equation for us to understand it without a shadow of a doubt. What is our Shabbat? When is our Shabbat? Because this is where it starts and this is where it ends. The Shabbat is the covenant from the Genesis, and then after given to us in Shmot, Exodus, but in Hebrew Shmot, the names, okay, everything is named. Shmot chapter 20, Kaf, Perek Kaf, Pasuk Shmone, verse 8. Together we have Kaf and Chet, what gives the word Koach, power. So we're dealing with the covenant as the Shabbat, as the source of our power. So in order for the anti-life force to take away your power, all he needs to do is take away one day. Rumpelstiltskin, nobody will never know. Just had the name.
Hmm.
Take the name, take the source first of all, and confuse the day. Because if you're out of cycle from one, you're out of cycle forever.
Absolutely.
So we are in eternal death, spiritual death of fallen cycles. Simply because we have forgotten the power, the source. And we are defining ourselves by external social powers, external geographical locations, external communities, external religions. So now we are defining ourselves as persons and not spirits, not living spirits. So if we say as Hebrews, we must understand first we serve the living God, which means every aspect of our life must lead to a life-giving energy. If I eat, it must give me life. If I speak, it must speak and give life. If I walk, I must walk towards life. If I'm running, run towards life. If I'm sitting, I'm relaxing for life. So when we put it in its entirety, when we put it in its entirety, we go back to the source, to the covenant. Brit, the covenant, and this is where you're going to come in at too, because we have a chart here, but we're not going to look at it. I'm going to just explain to you. But Brit, if you do the gematria for the word Brit, you get the number 9. That's taking the bait, making it the 2, the wedge, making it 2, the U. But we get number 9. 9 represents the purpose of the hour. Tesha, Tachlit Hasha'a, the purpose of the hour. The purpose of what hour? If you wasn't satisfied in the cycle of 7, like Sheva, or Savati, I was satisfied. Then I made another decision, and the Chet 8 becomes after 7, which means I made a decision to not be satisfied, and then Tet brings me my natural effect to the decision I made for not being satisfied. So, in other words, Tet would be relative law, and Tet is the actual stage before you must learn that once the relative law, once you realize what you've done, only thing can come next is the spirit of it. That's number 10. That's the you. That's the spirit of the matter. And if you understood truth, you would go back to Aleph, to number 1, and then you will start all over again, or you will continue to separate yourself 10, 11, and 12, and you will be separated forever, or until you decide to come back. So when we're talking about what will unify us and how I would say we must understand to simplify more of what we actually see that's right in front of our face. And when you take the word Shabbat, because once again, we just say words. What is Shabbat? You know what I'm saying? Why this word? Why he didn't choose another word? Why did he use these letters? And I won't go too deep into it, but I like to take words and say, let's take this word and make it into a sentence. Very simple. And in Hebrew, remember, you can take the three letters, the 3 consonants, Shin, Bet, and Tav, and you can play with them, and you can see what you get. But we're not going to play too much. We're going to get 2 words to actually symbolize as what the Shabbat in and on a bigger scale represents. So we take Sheen Bet, the first two letters, we have the word shave, which means to sit down, relax, shave, sit down, relax, meditate. When you sit down and relax, you're not in action. So now another energy can come to you. Not necessarily you can walk and relax your mind, but then you got another word that says shav, the same letters. It says shav, shave, shav. Shav simply means that something that shall return unto you. So when you relax, what actually will return unto you? You have shave, tav, shav, tav. And simply say, sit down and relax, meditate on tav, the purpose of all things, the last letter, and then the reason and the purpose of all things shall return to you in that state of relaxing on this day. And when we're talking about a day, we're talking about a specific day that was mathematically put so that the planetary energies will be aligned on this day to release the specific energies you need for the living soul in order to continue your living cycle.
Absolutely. And you want to know what's divine about, the whole Shabbat within itself? I mentioned to you earlier, and not too many people may understood, or it may have not even paid attention or even known the fact that when the Father gave, when he created the Shabbat and he hallowed it, that he actually didn't give it to Adam or none of our ancestors from the beginning. He actually waited up until the time of Moses with the ceremony to give us the Shabbat. So it's gonna, when people get that, they're gonna be like, what? In their mind they was thinking, that the Shabbat had been going on since those times, but you won't find that and no point in history, that the Father had them deal with the Shabbat. Even Noah, you would think that Noah would have got right off the boat as soon as the new world that he just came from a world being destroyed. First thing he would do would hallow the Shabbat on the seventh day of that new land. But none of that happened. So that none of that is recorded. The Shabbat is not recorded nowhere in Genesis after it's mentioned that first time, and it's given to us in ceremony. And it's one of the most peculiar things. It's the most special gift to us in our connection with the Father. So even missing that one day, when our whole life in school they told us, it's 365 days in a year for school, but then they tell you it's 52 weeks in a year, and we know there's 7 times, 7 days in a week, and it's 52 times 7 gives you 364. Well, where does extra day come from? So that distortion of time became something like this is on purpose, because I mean they told you literally as a child that the 365 was because of the extra day, because when you do the mathematical calculation of 52 times 7 being 364, you'd be like, that extra day is the leap year, but the leap year is every 4 years, and that gives you 366. So they never gave you an actual legitimate explanation, but it always been hiding the truth from us of the Most High's divine time. So when it comes down to Shabbat, it's so special because only the Father was dealing with this, and like the Book of Enoch says in the Book of Jubilees, it lets you know that only two classes of angels are keeping the Shabbat with the Father. He only deemed two classes of angels: the angels of sanctification and the angels of purification. Is the one, and the angels of the presence. Is the one that's dealing with the Father when it comes down to the Shabbat. So when you got angels, when you feel the weather blowing, when you feel it raining outside, so all of these are angels dealing with these things, and they're still working on the Shabbat. So it's special only for the children of Israel that He gave us this, and so it's divine about that. So yeah, that whole breakdown, which how you broke that down in Hebrew with the Shabbat, it's very significant. When we really learn the Hebrew and the language, and we understand that every word and every even the making up of the word when it's broken down has a symbolic spiritual meaning of the actual essence of creation itself. That's how the Father, when He created everything, He created everything with the Hebrew.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like it's almost like when we're talking about salvation, Yeshua, and we have a lot of ways of defining what is salvation, and once again, if you go to the book of, well, let me say it like this. Let's give you three different ways of looking at salvation. We have Yeshua with a hey at the end. You have Yeshua. You have Yesha. What is the difference between and you have Yeshaya? Okay, you have Yesha, Yeshua, Yeshaya, and Yeshua.
I like Yeshaya better.
I know, and I'll tell you, well, that's because you represent Yeshaya, Yesha, yeah, the salvation or one who has been saved based on in the grace of Yah, the salvation of Yah. And once again, we're going to explain after this what is Yah, because I really want to simplify this so that when we all be on the same board when we talk about Yah and all this, we're going to put it in energetic form so that even a baby can understand. We don't want to get mystical or religious about it. But let's look at the root of salvation. The root of salvation is three letters: Yud, Shin, and Ayin. Yesha. Okay? Yud, Shin, and Ayin. Yesha. Yud, once again, the three first letters you have mind, heart, and the liver, or expressions, the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we express ourselves. Any other letter in the name is skills and abilities. But in the word Yesha, this is the beginning of salvation, and this is something we're going to, what Yeshua shared about salvation. But Yesha and its root, the root of Yesha is the ability to humble down in the man, humility. That Yud, that masculine creative energy of the universe, the male child represents the male child once again, represents humility. Salvation means we must humble to the higher force, to the higher power, the one who gives us the breath of life. So the beginning, the root of the beginning of salvation begin with humility, acceptance. Then you have the sheen. The sheen is the processor, like the teeth. The shen, it processes the food before digesting. So, but the sheen is the transformer, which means letting me transform or reprocess what I've been feeling about what I think I feel. So once I accept something a new way, accept the energy of life, I humble down. Now I have to transform the way I feel about what I'm used to feeling. And then in the letter iron, the expression, the root, once I get that seed, it will give me an ability to express myself now with iron, with vision, with sight, not with doubt. Remember, not with doubt, but with vision and to know in the cycle. I know based on this, this, and this, because I can see tomorrow. I don't have to figure out. So salvation is actually humbling us down, transforming us to become one, to be given eyes again to see rather again. That's made it like that. So that's just the root of it. Now we have Yeshaya, Isaiah. Okay, Yeshaya. Okay, the salvation of Yah. Now, one thing about Yeshaya, a key point of Yeshaya,
Or you say Isaiah.
because in English it's translated as Isaiah, and I want people to be able to relate to me as Isaiah, those who don't know the name Yeshaya. So Yeshaya or Yeshaya, when if it's divided into two, simply he talks about what it takes to be saved by the Creator. And one of the things that Yeshaya said, if we go to Yeshaya 45, once again, 4 and 5, 9, we're going to talk that 9 again, that covenant, that power of being saved. 45, he talks about, you will know me when I give you a new name. When I give you a new name that you have never known before. This is why even in religion today, when you first get into any religion, the first thing you must do is transform your name. Now you say, if you was Yeshua, now you Jesus. Okay, if you was if you was what you say, Isaiah now, or if you was Yeshaya, now you Isaiah. If you was Yaakov, now you Jacob. Everything takes away, because as long as you take away from that vibration, you dilute that power by not saying, like, my name is gonna be Yativia, wherever I go in any language on the face of the planet. It should be, your name should be Adam on any place of the planet where you go. It should never be changed, because that is the source of your power. Okay. So Yeshaya talks about the power of transformation or salvation through the name. Okay, Yeshua. Once again, he took Yesha, took the root and put a vav. Put that letter vav, that connector, that spiritual and physical connector in expressions, which means now this is what you see salvation connected with a physical man. Yeshua represents connection, the spiritual and physical connection in the man, one thing Yeshua always said, he said, um, the one who is waiting on the kingdom of heaven, it will never come. He who is looking for it, he will never find it, you know. But it is only given to the one who opened his eyes and realized it's been there all the time. All his message, if you ask me, his message was the ability to access salvation has been has been available in every single generation if we understood spiritual matter. So this is, and then when you get Yeshua, the actual Shem HaPilah, the active matter of salvation, you took Yeshua and all you did is added hey to it, which means if you actually did what Yeshua did, you got hey, that feminine creative energy of the universe, like in Yah, which means now you have the ability to create something that has not been seen yet, to be transformed, to know the new you that you have never known. So this is how I would share that. And I would like to share something small about imitation of life, because this is important. This is important when we're talking about the anti-life energy, because I don't recognize the devil. We have, like, it's one energy, pro-life and anti-life, and it's all given by a choice. That is all in the hands of the man.
I definitely recognize, you know what I'm saying, that force to be in it, and put that force inside an actual entity of a body and operate on according to things that are on that level, you know. But go ahead.
Absolutely. So when we look at the one of the words, the name Yahuwah. First of all, before we get to this, I think it's important that we explain from my point of view. From this is just a perception, from my understanding, from my gift of and this is not just in the ground, because we have to give credence to a lot of the Hebrew scholars out there, wherever you may be,
Exactly.
and so that we may unify and unite whatever we may have to put it on the table, because this is just my part of giving. I know when
And
we
what
get
I give
all,
is what I give. You know, we're not the end all be all with.
we're just
You
giving
know,
in measure what
but
we need.
everybody will be able to, you know.
Absolutely. So what I always say, and I think because the power's name is important, and like I said, the message was that we just unify on this power and understanding what this power is. Yah Yahuwah, Yah Yahuwah. Yud and Hey. Yud is the masculine creative energy of the universe, represents the male child. And why? Because the male child is our greatest problem, our greatest challenge is our ego since the Genesis. And we have not been able to humble down to spirit, and we have been self-defenders. This is why this Yud means once we humble down and stop being self-defenders, we allow ourselves to be I won't even say define, but to allow our definition of ourselves to express itself by tuning in to our power, which is spirit, then we could actually, that's when we be the greatest we can be. We get our greatest power. And Hey is simply the feminine creative energy of the creator of Yah. So, which means, once again, energies, okay, masculine, feminine, but they are one energy. If it's, as I always say, I say, Yah loved himself so much that he split himself into two just to love himself even more, but in order to procreate. And that's Yah. But now we're talking about Yahuwah. Now, Yahuwah is the energy, the everlasting energy. Uh, in Hebrew, you have letters that are called Ehevi. It is Aleph, Hey, Vav, and Hey. Aleph, Hey, Vav, and Hey makes up what we call one word Ehevi. But this word simply said that these letters has the ability to be consonants and vowels at different times. Like in Abba, in the word Abba, you have Aleph, Bet, Aleph. You have an Aleph in the front, which represents a consonant, and the Aleph in the back, which represents a vowel. It's seen but not heard. Hey is the same way. Hey can be at the beginning or at the end. Yud, Vav, the same thing. And these letters represents the eternal energy. As if we go back to Egypt, like when the story when you say when Moses or when Moshe asked the Father, what is your name? Or what should I tell them?
Right.
And the story we are told is he said, I am Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, or I am that I am.
And that's the name that I believe is the Father's name.
Well, let me give you my scenario of what
So,
I think as a I like that because think about it like this. If a guy is supposed to be the source of my life has disappeared and not been in my life for about 400 and something years, we have not had access to him. He sends me a messenger, and the messenger asks him, "Look, man, they know you by your name. Can you just tell him your name?" And he says, "Hey, man, I am that I am." You know what? I'm personally, if a guy told me like this, that man, you are arrogant. You know what? Because to tell you didn't tell me the name. You told me like, hey, it's almost like, yo,
he
man,
didn't
you.
just stop it there.
It's almost like you know who I am, man. It's like you know I am.
He didn't tell him to specifically say he told Moses, I am that I am. You
Yeah.
tell the children of Israel that I am have sent me unto you.
Okay, I am. Can you say that I am in Hebrew?
Is pronounced in his modern Hebrew today is pronounced as
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so
Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good.
or
Very
you
good.
have some of our brethren
Very
who
good.
pronounce it in a different way.
We got it. Don't go no further than that. Eheye. If he said I am, eheye seems I will be.
I understand that.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Do it make sense for a source to come to me and say, I will be, or I am?
When you take
that's not arguing on it. I
Hebrew
just want to make it a little
perspective,
clear.
that no, I'm not gonna. That's what I'm saying. When you take the name of it like that, you understand it, and put it in that sense. No, and that's for me a twist.
That's what I'm saying. And this is bringing a little clearance.
But when the Father brings it to you in English,
okay,
and He's saying, "I am."
Okay.
I am is the full. What is a name? A name's supposed to have meaning. It has to have substance in it.
Absolutely.
So when the Father says, "I am," to me, that's the most perfect name to give because I am everything. I am whatever you.
I can understand that.
I am all that you can imagine. I am the couch that you're sitting on. I am the air that you breathe. I am everything. So for me, there is not a greater name than to tell the children of Israel, I am have sent me unto you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let us remind ourselves that English is a fallen language. It has no power like our original language. And this is why I'm here to clear some things up to us so that when we now call on his name, we have a new understanding. So when we say in Hebrew, Eheye, it's not saying it's not giving me a name, it's saying I shall be. So I'm going to clear up, I would say, and it's not written anywhere, but once again, it's just my perception and logic reasoning. I'm like, we're the generation who we don't want to be too religiously inclined with what's going on. We want to be able to hear what was given to us and to be able to discern those stories so they can be relative to us. It has to make sense to me if I am to believe it. So which means with my understanding, it doesn't make sense. With my understanding, I will say what makes sense to me is he said, my name is Yahuwah. But why wouldn't they share that name to us? Because if they give you that name, the natural vibration of that name will empower you.
But where is that written? We can feel like what it should be.
Okay.
What is written?
Because let's go.
Want to get to
let's go to the first. Let's go to the commandment. Hear, O Israel, Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Avinu, Yahuwah Echad. Right here. Hear, O Israel, not the Lord our God. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Avinu, Yahuwah.
That's after you see, we talking about we talking about Exodus chapter 3.
I don't want to get into
and 14 and 15.
Let me explain just the energy. I want to give you a perception so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not telling you what was. Allow me to give you my perception, and then we can decide what is later. But allow me to finish to give you my perception. My perception, because this is what I believe, and this is what I want to clear up. You can tell your perception, I'm saying, because we're here to unify and to clarify so that we all be on the same page. So what I'm saying, Hebraically so, from the Hebrew language, our source of power with the name, which is everything, even remanded to us. Remember, Ben Ami didn't give us the name. He remanded us. Everything is being remanded. What I'm giving you right now, I am reminding you something that has been lost from us, which is our language and the power to remember Ivri. We must see something new so that we can overcome what's been keeping us in these cycles. So all I'm saying is that when we get new understanding based on the language, the name says, I am Yahuwah, which is the energy. I'm an everlasting energy. Now, I'm not sure he said that, but all I'm saying is that to me, it would make more sense for my father, who's been gone for so long, to finally come back after 400 years. Just tell me, Yah Yahuwah. Why? I don't want to play with the name. I don't want to think about what. I don't want to be given a riddle on the name. I'm here to be saved, so I need the name. It just makes sense that he would have gave Moses the real name, and they wouldn't give us the real name because they know the power, once again, is in the name. So if they give us the name, they give us our power back. They're not trying to give us our power, is all I'm saying. So Yah Yahuwah simply means Yah is a masculine creative and feminine creative energy, represents everything in the universe. Energy. And Yahuwah is that everlasting interchangeable energy that comes down and go back up. It moves. It can move. Energy that can never be stopped. It can come down. I can stop when I want, and I can go when I want. That's the eternal energy. And once again, everything is energy. The Yah is simply putting it back into masculine and feminine energies. Okay, so, and then once again, I want to say that Yahuwah, if you, the gematria of Yahuwah, so that we can see how deception is. Okay, the gematria of Yahuwah is the number 26. When we get 2 and 6, we get the number 8. When we get the number 8, we get the letter Chet, which is like a table, a Chet. The power of the Chet simply means the power of decision making. It means once you make the decision, this gives you your stability or cause you to be firm. This will make you stable. Okay, Yahuwah, the energy of Yahuwah, will you choose him, it will make you firm and stable, unmovable. But what other thing equals 8 too? Let's take it for instance the name of Dot, religion. Religion, who is the, let's say he is the rival of Yahuwah. Okay, religion is the rival of Yahuwah. So if he say, remember, he's gonna try to look like you and act like you and even sound like you. When you add up the letter, the word dot, dalit and tav. Dalit is 4, tav is 400, but we say 4 and 4, we get once again the number 8. Once again, foundation, chet, the letter chet. Once again, dot is telling you the same thing. The religion is telling you the same thing. Yahweh is telling you. So he's saying, hey, choose me. Choose me. Everybody, and y'all saying, hey, choose me. Religion is saying, choose me. But remember, dot represents one thing, dalit and tav. That's why he better understand. Dalit simply is like a door. It's delit. But dal means a poor person, poor in the soul, and dalui means uplifted in the soul. And this is why it's not like, see, in Hebrew you can say, Ani marim sefer, I lifted up this book. Ani ole madregot, I'm going upstairs. But when I'm lifted up with the word, with the letter dalit, I'm lifted up in my soul. This is why every single religion must start off with lifting you up in your soul, whether it be a song, a dance, whatever inspires you, get you hyped up. Shoot, they got the Satan's religion full of drugs. That get them hyped up, don't they? Whatever gets you emotionally involved. Once again, to capture you, and then to what open up a new delit, a new door, a new way of consciousness, a new awareness about what? About Tav, about the letter Tav, about the purpose of all things, how to live life. And it, once again, it's just a way that somebody else said, choose me, not Yahuwah.
Okay.
So we want to put that out there as an imitation of life.
Okay, that's what's up. I feel like that's a good way to try to bridge the gap between a lot of the confusion what everybody has with our brothers and sisters that have different names and different ways that they pronounce the name of the Most High. So for me as a personal, saying, Israelite on my own way of doing things, I try not to demonize or criticize or throw stones at any of the other Israelites that may say his
Absolutely.
name in a particular way, and
Absolutely not.
I try not to make it to where that anything that I project is an end all be all outside of the map that the Father has given me. That
Right.
is the only end all be all. When it comes down to the translations and interpretations and things like that, what I'm saying, I leave the room of what it is. Language is open for interpretation.
Right.
Mathematics is really not. So the difference of that's that brotherly love and that unity that we got to find amongst ourselves to be able to teach what we feel, what I'm saying, with not being able to step the lines on, what I'm saying, if you feel like what you saying and when you break it down by your scholarly level of knowing Hebrew, what I'm saying, you bringing it to the brothers and sisters like you're not, what I'm saying, let me bring y'all up to speed, what I'm saying, up until this point before you heard me, what I'm saying, you ain't been doing it right, what I'm saying. That's the same way we got camps that do the same thing and everybody do the same thing. So we can, as brothers, find a way to not offend anybody on the platforms of
Absolutely.
speaking on Hebrews, on speaking on how it may be, then I think it'll be fruitful for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It'll just be a beautiful thing. You understand? And as we go down the line, they get the chance to know more about who you are, and you can tell them about the Demona community and the history of things of that nature, because all that matters
Mhm.
as well. Everybody just need to know, and we're gonna get other Israelites from other different walks of life to be able to break bread with them, and we all need to be able to sit down and talk on this level. If we can't talk with each other and break bread, you understand that we still got a long way to go.
Absolutely.
You understand?
I think that's the most significant thing of the time. And like, please don't get me wrong. It's remember every generation, just like you bring your math, you can say that okay, I bring the math in. I haven't heard nobody say that do that before. Okay, blessed generation. And why do you think the Kabbalah relates math and Hebrew? Do you know Hebrew is the call it the four forefathers of all languages because every language extends. But let's go back. Remember, all these languages are from the Tower of Babel. So when we go back to the source, because Hebrew is definitely calculated in this buildup of energy, it is the DNA of all creation. When you talk about just like you're talking about math, that's exactly how you can talk about the letters. And these letters are energies and shapes and symbols that are forms, matter, and everything in this universe. And each and every one of us and every single thing in the universe is a part of that because we can be called a name. Once we can be called a name, now we are now matter again. We are given relevance to what actually is. So all I'm saying, my job, my gift is to come and just try to give a little well, give a little bit. Let's say, let's take a closer look. And like I said, let's do it like this. I like to be happy with it. We have a few names that you were showing, and I want you to share with me. And I would like to share this. So we have because we have a few of the Hebrews. We have Yahweh. You have Yahweh Shah. You have Yahuwah. You have Ahaya, like you said. You have uh, and what's the Yahweh?
Yahweh.
Yahweh. Okay, for instance, let's take these names for instance. Now, let's say they're all different versions of the same source, right? Okay. For instance, same lady in
They're
a
all
different,
different versions of the same source.
absolutely different vibrations, energetic vibrations of the same source. Because even if we look at it, even though they vibrations may be going up, Yahuwah or uh, Yahweh, however we know it, it's let's look at it like a song. Okay, let's say we have a song, and first of all, we must understand that everything is relative. Every single thing is relative because if it wasn't relative, we wouldn't be able to experience the vibrations, the positive vibrations of being able to call on these sources. The whole thing is we may not be able to call on the full 100% vibration. And what I mean by that, let's say for instance, if I got a song and saying, I believe I can fly, I believe I can fly. And that's the song, I believe I can fly. But then, everybody know the song by that. Song everybody connects to. Then somebody else comes sing the same song and say, I believe I can flee. I believe I can flew. I believe I can fly. It doesn't matter however they say it. It still has relative meaning.
And they man, they
And
thinking the
amen.
same
I was
song,
singing the same song.
thinking the same
Sing
lyrics.
same lyric, but the vibration just may have been the tone, just may have been a little bit off for the song to be perfect. And then because we want somebody that when we hear our song, we want it to sound pleasant. So when we tell our story, when we're talking about our creator, we want it to sound pleasant. Our song must, if any other energy calls you, remember, once again, it's energy because names are energy. If it's if an energy causes you to kill and whatever, if an energy causes you to eat something that is anti-life, if an energy causes you to keep do this law in this way, it simply means all it did was deter you just a little bit from what you were supposed to do. And then, so, which means that we have to understand we are the target. As a people, we are the target. All of us as one are the target. So it's whose best interest do it really serves to see all of us confused about one thing that really is just a source of power.
Right.
So it's only a vibration, a sound, and this is what we don't see. Based on the power of sound, when you say Yahweh, we have the ah sounds on there, the open patach, okay, and kamatz, patach and kamatz, which means is the sound is open and closed. It's almost a breathing. Patach, kamatz, patach, kamatz, patach. The opening, these energies opened, and then these energies brought back in. So these energies actually, these consonants, along with these energies, allow us actually to live. And I can prove that to you in the word. Let's look at it like this. Take the word Yah, for example.
Okay.
The word Yah is, let's say, Yud and Fav is 15. 1 and Fav is 6. Okay, 6 is Vav. Let's take the letter Vav. Let's put that to the side, all right? We have the letter Vav for Yah. Can we do that?
We got it. I'm following you. I want to
Okay.
make sure.
Yeah, again, we do that. Okay, we're going to take, once again, we're going to take the word Yah, and we're going to say Yud equals 10, Hey equals 5. Together, we're going to say 15. Yud, Hey. Okay. So now we want to get the lowest, the single denominator, the single digit, the seed. So we're going to say 1 and 5 equals 6. Once we say 6, we're going to translate the number 6 to the sixth alphabetical letter, which is the letter Vav. Once again, the connector and the unifier.
Now, when you say Vav, in the ancient, it'd be Wa, right?
We're gonna get to that. I'm gonna tell you something about that in a minute about the Wa and the
That's where
Vav.
the Yahweh Shai and all
Okay.
that come. Our brothers and sisters
Okay.
use the ancient
Okay.
tongue.
I'm gonna give you something about that right now. Hold that. That's important. But we have the Vav now, right? Yeah, Vav. And we're gonna take Yahweh. We said that equals Chet, right? We have Vav and we have Chet. So I must show you this. Okay, I ain't gotta show you. Vav is a straight line and Chet is the Chet. Okay, we have Vav and Chet. Now I need to make this a word. Remember, I have an interchangeable letter, which is Vav, which it can be, according to need, it can be a Yud. And once I change it, put it together with the Chet, or a Hey or a Aleph. Let's say I put the Chet, I need the Chet, and the Aleph in the words A and B. Chet and Aleph, Cha, it doesn't mean anything. Let's say Chet and Hey. Chet and Hey, Ha, it still doesn't have a word. Let's say chet and vav, cho, doesn't mean anything. But let's say chet and yuit, it says chai, chai, live, the living. So Yah Yahuwah actually equals the living. That's why when he is always, we serve the living Yah. Even in his name, there's life in the energetic vibration of his name.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we must consider too. And like I said, what I learned about this is my perception. Once again, I have not went to any universities for this. This is as a Hebrew born in the land. This is as we were taught our kids, as we were taught as kids. Once your mind is prepared and your heart is prepared, you would then be received to or prepared to receive universal knowledge. And universal knowledge, I call it, like I said, I don't know what I know until I'm asked the question. And when you're in tune, when you let go as being like the letter U, it says, if you want to be everything, you must become nothing. And by becoming nothing, you really understand. It's accepting that you are nothing. Not saying not knowing, because we something, but accepting that actually I'm nothing. That at the same time, I'm everything. That only comes by the way of access of that letter U, acceptance and humility, spiritual. Remember the Zachar, the male child, is very important because Zachar in Hebrew means Zachar too. It's an action word that says he remembered. Who remembered? Who Zachar? Mahu Zachar. What did he remember? What is it that's so important for us to remember as the male child? As being the first one. We only must remember the way to live. The essence of life to me is simply to live.
Mm-hmm.
If we were created by the living God, let's live. That's why we talk about.
A lot of people got different definitions of how what
I,
living
I mean,
is
what I'm saying.
defined
That's
as.
that's just
That's
one perception right there.
too vague.
I mean, okay.
But tell me, what you got going on like in the land? What do you do in the land currently right now? What do you bring forth, and we're gonna say, what do you have for our people? To elevate their spirit.
Uh huh. Well, I hear where you getting to. You want to get those pleasures.
I mean, let the people
Yeah,
know.
the people gonna know.
What I'm saying. We
Well,
wanna.
today, for the last 6 years, myself and my wife, we are the proud owners of the brand Vegan Express, vegan restaurant here in the city of Miss Paramount. Um, we're now in the process of growing, like always, as the trees of life. Uh, just moved out of a hotel restaurant, which we left on our own terms in order to do something else to grow bigger so that we can produce more for our people. And we're about, look, I grew up as a vegan and I grew up as, one thing I always say about this kingdom, for me, it represents one thing, an alternative way of living. And there are so many, and it means if you did this, and there's this whole story tells how it had happened. And there's internal stories, but I don't, the essence of what this whole community means is an alternative way of living. So that's all we're about. And then this is the alternative way of living for everybody.
So you've been
But
vegan your whole life,
I've not
born vegan.
been. I was born vegan. I began when I remember I left the community and
Okay,
discovered
right. You
my
said you
own
left the
self.
community.
And I was gone for about 8 years, and I broke out of after about 2 years
Okay.
being out of the community under peer pressure. Of course, I broke, and
Did you feel like you was missing something when you finally got the chance to taste? You know what I'm saying? Outside of that vegan
well,
lifestyle, did you say, uh-huh?
let me tell you something. Well, I can say, look, one thing my parents, they come from eating, they from America, so they ate almost everything. Because I wouldn't have chosen. I have a specific experience that another time I'll explain on how I even got to even tasting no chicken. Because you don't just come strong out of the community and just break. you had to be broken somehow. How it was broken is a whole other story in
Yeah,
itself.
okay.
But when it did happen, I first thing I said, I was like, man, our teachers lied. They said this jam was not good. It was good. The taste was good.
Off the
You know,
chain.
the taste was good, but as I know, because I was taught well, remember, I was born free. I was taught before that not everything that tastes good or feels
Yeah,
good is good for
right.
you. But I did, I did understand. I said, maybe it's something about the black thing. It's a DNA thing, man. I was just, because I did really like chicken when I was out there. I had never ate this, and then now we saw black people with chicken. All of a sudden, I just automatically love chicken. Like it was in my DNA. Like
It's
this
in your
stuff in
blood.
our DNA. I'm trying to break DNA cycles, man.
Yeah, it's in your
That was
blood,
trying to
man.
slip back in, but I was able to break it back off. But anyway, me and my wife, like I said, we're here trying to give people an alternative way of living once again. And that's sharing. My wife has been a biochemist and a Le Cordon Bleu graduate. For those who don't know Le Cordon
Your
Bleu,
wife is a biochemist.
she's a biochemist and she has a BA in biochemistry, and she's has a what's that BA in culinary management from Le Cordon Bleu.
Okay, so since she's a biochemist, does that mean she can deal with looking at the vaccine and all that?
Oh, I can look at the vaccine from the word. I can tell you what the vaccine. I'm glad you brought that up because we
No, we ain't
definitely
gonna go
we don't
there.
want to bring that up. But my Isha is no, she's the like the biochemist. Now she's the biochemist. She heals the soul
Okay.
internally. So when you come and sit in our restaurant and you're hosted by the spiritual food, you know, before waiting on that physical food that we're gonna let people see. We're gonna let you. I give you an example. I'm gonna have Aram, you know, since we breaking bread, break bread on one of what we call our King Burger. We're gonna explain about it when he pull it out because I'm about to go into advertisement right now. But you know,
Hmm.
I mean, when you market, you always got to market you. But yeah,
Absolutely.
and another thing is I work with public relations here in Mid-Spain. I work with Jewish agencies. I work with different groups of mechinot here in the land. Mechinot are pre-military groups, children before they go into military, and so I do teaching about explaining who we are in this land. You know, again,
Who we are
who
as
we are
in
as in
Israelites.
Israelites in this land, our story and our journey, specifically talking about the community. Because even being in this land 50 years, you would be surprised to know that there are a lot of people who still are not aware of the essence of what our story really means. You know, so they're always asking. There's a lot of here, so they may hear article here and there that really doesn't tell the whole thing about. You know, if you're not up close and on it, you don't understand it. So you always we can lean to anybody say so.
Right.
You know, so it depends on which way you choose to go. So like I said, I'm doing my destiny. I was born to to share a new image, to share a new mindset, to share a new way of living, and to be in harmony with the Creator, with the people of the Creator. And you know, as I see everything in this world as a part of the Creator, and even if it looked like it's negative, it's there so that you can choose not to do it. You know,
Okay.
I'm not here to get mad at it being here. I'm glad the negativity is here so I can make a choice.
Right.
You know, if it wasn't here, I got it all pretty and sweet. How do I know what's wrong and what's not?
Right.
We need this mirror so that it can say that, hey man, I stood up against the evil. I stood up against the anti-life ways. I stood up against those who raised up against you.
I stood up against killing animals and
Absolutely.
eating flesh
Absolutely.
and things like that. Tell me, so since y'all specialize in making the vegan food, like why, since the food is great,
Hmm.
why do y'all make it look like meat type food? People want to know, like, if you go vegan, then what's the point of you making food that look like regular food? You know, instead that you can answer that question for people on why do
Absolutely.
what's the point? Because I like it like that. I mean, I feel like If you're gonna be vegan, you know what I'm saying, and you want to switch over to a healthier lifestyle, what's wrong with the food imitating what you used to eat? You know what I'm saying? If somebody can recreate that taste for you and help you, I don't see what's the problem. But why do y'all do that? Because not everybody do that, but y'all
I'm glad
specialize in
you
that.
said that because first of all, you gotta understand, me and my wife, where my wife did not grow up in the community.
Right. Okay.
She's a converted Jew,
Okay.
African American converted Jew who I met in Tel Aviv
Okay.
at the time, and she comes from hardcore meat eaters, North
Okay.
Carolina. They master barbecues. So
Right. Right.
I can remember the first time when I used to date her. Only she can talk about my entrecote, my entrecote.
That steak.
And yeah, that entrecote, this steak, and all I could be looking like, man, you really eating that? Like, I never went
Man,
that
that's my
far.
favorite meat too.
Yeah, I know. But look, from my point of view, um, I don't eat half the food we sell because I've lived this my entire life. I'm more conscious vegan. And what I mean by conscious, I mean I'm more about healthy. I wouldn't say it's the difference between being healthy and being vegan. I think we need to clear that up too.
Okay.
As born a vegan, as a I've seen it's everything is a transformation. When we first started as a community, our parents they started off they didn't go straight up into vegan. Slowly but surely, I mean they still ate lamb when they was in Liberia. But then by signs they took that off. They still ate fish and eggs at the beginning time here. But as the process evolved, because remember life is about evolution, evolving to immortality, to
Right.
being those everlasting living beings.
Right.
So in our evolution, like if I was to take our community and our evolvement in the diet and having four live weeks out of the year, and sugarless weeks and saltless weeks, and which means we have evolved where at least 30-40% of our life is a live menu because we're evolving from the imitations, once again, imitations of like the bacon, like Maisha do, or the shawarma, or the burgers. See, I didn't grow up eating burgers. I'm a salad guy, and you know me myself. When you come to my house, what I got every morning? A shake,
Yeah, that's
and
another thing. Them shakes
a
is off the
shake,
chain.
a salad. But in my consciousness, I'm not where my students are, or let's say the people I'm trying to help doing the transformation. A teacher's not on the same level.
And I don't think nobody up on vegan bacon.
So
You understand?
that's
So
what I'm
you
saying.
gotta
So
really
people
put
who just
people's
kind of
mindset into the understanding of how she creates this reality of vegan
you
food.
gonna show that, but let me finish.
Is it healthy?
Well, the bacon is not so healthy because we're talking about sight time. And once again, let me finish my thing because I need to get you need to get a broad picture when we talk about transformation. Why do we do this? I'm doing this as a healer, as a transformer of a man. If I gotta eat meat all day, I need something that he can taste a little bit like what can look like it for his beginning transformation.
Mm-hmm.
As he get on the road, he get more conscious. First of all, get that taste bud satisfied. That's the first thing.
Makes sense.
The flesh pots get the taste buds satisfied first.
Mm-hmm.
Attract the guy first. Don't just throw him no raw. Cause I come to me, I'm gonna give you a whole raw plate. Come from me into raw, he straight up gonna turn away.
Right.
So, but I won't. Once again, you wanna bring people in, not on a come in and be like this. Everybody's on that level.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying, but all of us must say, but our goal is the same. Our goal is evolving to the same level, what we call immortality,
Right.
everlasting life, whereas we eat to live and not live to eat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
that's why, in order to help people, and Aisha, my wife has to be happy too because what I'm saying, she got to have what she like.
Right. Right.
And she remember she to become a lot of things to become vegan. It must be conscious. You must believe it.
Okay.
You can't just say, "Oh, I eat vegan and I can do whatever I want to do." Oh no, that's a contradiction.
Okay.
That's an unnatural spirit with an unnatural food source.
Right.
Okay, it almost be connected. I mean, I need to think natural. I need to tell the food, you're gonna help me. I
Right.
need to make you're gonna taste good for me.
Right.
You must learn how to command your mind to say you're gonna be good. Because for the most part, we didn't get used to eating a lot of stuff we eat
Right.
because we've been eating that stuff. Let's get unused to eating it and get used to eating something else.
Absolutely.
you know.
So with that, let's give a demonstration of what it looks like, and you explain what that
Before we
is.
get into that, I want to close out on this last part right
All
here.
right, go ahead and close out. I want to
Talking
see.
about this note, we just talked about immortality.
It don't make no difference. Y'all probably can't see the darkness of the night.
I definitely can't see that.
We're gonna try that again for y'all another time.
Talking about immortality, I think this is what I came up with was, like I say, groundbreaking, very important to the living souls. Once again, we're talking about the living souls. Not everybody desires to live a long life, but for those of us who were taught about, living a long and a life of quality, long, healthy life, and knowing the power of language, just like in voodoo spells and everything. This is language. Remember, all this is language. Language, it sounds to us as words, vibrations and different tones of notes, different words. You can think it's one thing, but the vibration you just said caused a whole nother effect. My part here is I want to give something very, very key for understanding what immortality is based on the word immortality. Because in the word itself would tell you what its purpose is. And I want to start off with saying the word in Hebrew for immortality is what they call al mavet. Al mavet. Okay. Uh, I'm gonna see if they can see this. Can we see this? Let's see if we can get this. No, okay, they can't see it.
Like too
Okay.
bright.
Well, I'm gonna explain this to you. Al mavet is spelled Aleph, Lamed, Mem, Vav, Vav, Tav. I want you to pay attention in this word that the letter Vav that we talk about, that is a consonant and a vowel here, is here representing a consonant. Okay, Al Mavet. Mavet, Al Mavet is simply saying it's giving physical energy now. So as a child, it will always confuse me as a Hebrew speaker how we always talked about immortality that's supposed to be something that should be above what we call death, but the word has nothing to do with being above because I know above in Hebrew is ayin lamed, like al, me'al, and anything has something to do with being above should literally be with that. Naturally, should be with that letter. It confused me as a child, like, and I said, let me go to the dictionary. Maybe my teachers are wrong. And when I went to the dictionary, wow, it was spelled the same. Only as I got older and I began to understand, and the Holy Spirit began to reveal certain things to me, I began to understand that that was entirely wrong, and we are making a grave mistake, and the whole world is making a grave mistake. And this is once again about power. Why would they give you the word that represents immortality if they took away the word that represents life? Yahuwah. So why would they give you that word? We just have to ask that they wouldn't, would they? So in the word alamavet, al in Hebrew you can say al tiga. Aleph lam. Al tiga means don't touch. So in one way you can say don't no to, it's like saying no to death. No death. It's like you get a soap that's called al sabon. Al sabon simply is not saying not real soap. Of course, it's simply saying not. Okay, once again, we're going to keep with this aleph, and it has put another energy on the same. It has el mavet. El mavet. El spelled with a different vowel says unto the path. It means the path that leads el hamavet. a path that leads unto death. And then if you take the El, like Elohim, okay, and you put the Segol, the other energy on it, El Mavet, the god of death. So, wow, this seems, how could immortality be just saying no to death, just saying no, or just saying, oh, really telling me I'm literally going on the path to death, or actually telling me I'm believing in the God of death? Okay, it was revealed to me about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, because it had came to me, a lot through my understanding. But I said I needed some proof because, man, the world says it's like that. Who am I to challenge the world? But the Father showed it to me in Psalms, the 68th chapter, Samechet. Samechet, and man, Samechet. And for those who, you please go to 68, Psalm 68, the last verse. And the Hebrew, if you read Hebrew, this is the first and the only place in the scriptures you will find the word representing immortality. And the word in here, it says, Yah says, Ve'ani Yah yenahagenu al mut. That Yah yenahagenu, Yanhigotana, will lead us al mut. Al mut. Ayin lamed al mut. Not al mavet, but al mut. I said, wow, what is the difference? How I just saw this. This makes a lot of sense. Now, how can we make it make sense according to the Hebrew language? First of all, we ain't got the aleph lamed. We just put that. Let's put the al. We got the ayin lamed says everything. Okay, I'm satisfied. Finally, I got something that means above. But what's the difference between al-mut and al-mabit? Because they could have said al-mabit too. But al-mut and al-mabit. Remember when we talked about the energetic, the vowels that can be on the consonants that can be vowels or consonants. Ehevi, aleph, he, vav, and yud. And when we talk about al-mut and the word mut, the vav is not given physical matter, no physical definition, because it's as a sound, it's as a u sound. It's al-mut, which means it represents an energy that can cause you to fall only by choice. Which means this one, you don't even have a choice in al-mavit. You're going there because you're calling on it every day. Your choice has been calling on it al-mavit every day. When we say al-mut, you gave it no recognition, which means you know it exists, but you give it no power. And this is what we talk about. We talk about anti-life or the devil. He exists. You give it no recognition, and we become above him. And this is how we become immortals. So that's where anybody who is today saying Alamavit, we have those who are saying we have prayers for Alamavit. I beseech thee, please inquire and learn more, because unconsciously, believing, remember deception, believing something that is right to be true, but is wrong and untrue. And that in itself will take us out. And we will never receive life if we're constantly praying for death. Speaking, activating a death energy and thinking. We're talking about life. Remember that Yahweh told us it was life. Okay? And even if you gematria with these two words, they both come up with Vav. Okay. Six connection, the imitation. But remember, we just talked about the Vav and Alamavit. It's physical. The one in Al-Mut is spiritual. All right? So I think that's something that's very important. We need to... and you asked me before about the way and the ve. Yahweh and... and this is important because according to Hebrew, if I was not taught to say Yahweh, I would not know that. If I was not told that. Because reading Hebrew, you cannot get that. You can only get Yahweh. Remember. Now, so I asked some scholars in the community once about that, I remember Ben Ami used to always say, when he began to say Kwayam and not Kayam. Kayam means exist, like Ya Kayam, Ya exist. But then he started beginning saying Ya Kwayam, Kwa. It was the Kwa, the Wa. Nobody could really explain to me why, but I'll tell you what came to me. What came to me is that in Hebrew, based on what I know in Hebrew, the Wa sound cannot be written. It can only be spoken. You can write Vav, but you can't write Wav. Okay? You can write Vav, but not Wav. So let's go back to energy. The name of the Holy Spirit is something that cannot be written, but can only be spoken and passed down throughout generation to generation. He hid it where you can't write it, but you can speak it. And this is how you know you talking to him directly. You can't write it and say, I wrote you in the book. He gonna say my name. Say my name.
Hmm.
And by the way you say his name, he's gonna know who you've been listening to.
Right.
All
Okay.
right. And with that, you want to get to that master burger.
Yeah, we're gonna show them what that be like, and
Yeah.
so basically, this was basically us, breaking bread. We out here in the land of Israel. We on the borders of Israel. We're in the wilderness of Israel, and there's gonna be a building going on. Of the Most High, just bridging gaps and letting things be fulfilled in His divine timing with things. And so this was just a real fruitful, you know what I'm saying, and real, edifying conversation. We're gonna be able to touch bases on a lot of other things and be more specific and go right into topics and
Absolutely.
breaking down stuff right here. But this right here was a breaking bread dialogue. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? And so
Absolutely.
I appreciate you definitely for coming through, you know what I'm saying? And
Hey,
you know what I'm saying, Moray at TVI, you know what I'm
this is what
saying?
we do. This is Adam.
You
You know
understand?
what I'm saying?
CEO of a Vegan Express. And so
Hey.
I want to show the people what a piece of Vegan Express looks like, and you can explain to them
Uh,
what's going on.
all right. Okay. Well, he definitely left me. Well, he's gonna bring out to you this burger. This is our King Burger, and it is. Let me say. Let me give you the welcome before he even come out. Adam, don't even come out till I finish the introduction, so that when people come to my spot, I'll be like, "Welcome to the kingdom of wealth, health, and love." And like in every kingdom, there's a king and a queen. And the king of this house is the homemade mushroom burger with three type mushrooms with homemade almond cheese with homemade smoked seitan bacon style. And the queen of the house, of course, is a cashew cheesecake with a wild berry top. So if you want to experience this whole kingdom, you must first consume the king and the queen, and everything else in this kingdom shall be soothed and put right into your soul as one whole, like Yah. King and a queen. We're going to call the king the masculine, creative, physical energy for the soul. And that's the only one. We ain't going to talk about the queen right now. So, Adam, bring the king out. And I brought that plate out so you can. They was able to see it. That's all about that flat, big plate out. I ain't going to tease them, man.
So, brothers and
They
sisters,
can't even see it. Look, have it down.
you understand? Voila. This is a Vegan Express wonderful burger. You understand? It got the vegan bacon in there. You don't know.
Oh.
You have no idea what this. The camera doesn't really
I call it faking, not bacon. Okay, faking.
You understand? So when you wanna transfer from eating meat and going over there,
Hey.
Right Hand Vegan Express, they got something of that for you to be able to really show you what's going on. Yakai, Yakai.
Yochai, yochai.
Absolutely.
Hey, shalom, shalom.
So this is the blessing, the food, Vegan Express style. And this is breaking bread in Israel. You understand? Shabbat shalom, peace and blessing to
Shabbat
all the
shalom,
brothers and
peace
sisters
and
from out
blessings.
four corners of the earth. It's your brother Don Malachi, Israel.
More yativia hamore agadol. May
Hallelujah.
Yah continue to bless and keep all of us and constantly shine his face upon us, that we may all be enlightened to see the one way of the enlightened one, Yah Yahuwah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All
See
praise
you in
be
the
to the Most High.
land.
See you soon in the land. Come
Hey,
on through.
come
We're going to
on
break
through.
bread. We're going to be building. All right.